Hey, how you doing? This is Seji Hizo here to bring you news. It is currently 4:14 a.m. to 2024. So this is a story I just ran into. I'm pretty sure, maybe some of you guys may have seen it as well. So, again, as I've stated before, some things you guys may just so happen to see, and some stuff may be new to me. And just because it's new to me, I'm going to bring it to other people. So we have the story directly in front of you, and we're going to read a little bit of information from a few different articles that are pretty spread out, right? So number one is the New York Post. They stated that a Bahamas resort where two Kentucky mothers claimed that they were drugged and raped by two employees stated that the women's account of what happened does not match its security footage. Both women stated that they were assaulted in broad daylight by staffers at Pirate Cove while relaxing on the beach while their Carnival cruise ship was docked on the Grand Isle in the Bahamas. The longtime friend stated that they were offered a drink special by an employee, but just after 15 minutes began to feel incredibly intoxicated. They were ushered by a staff member into a scheduled area to look for shells. And then one of the women stated that she came to while she was being assaulted by a man in uniform. The pair, covered in cuts and bruises, reported the incident to Royal Bahamas Police, who later arrested two men, a 40-year-old of South Bohemia and a 54-year-old of 8 Mile Rock. Police also stated that the investigation remains ongoing, but Pirate Cove claims that the surveillance footage reveals that the two women's accounts don't add up. Quote, upon further review of the surveillance videos, the allegations made on site and in subsequent social media posts on news stories conflict with what the timestamp surveillance videos contain. Private Cove also confirmed that the two employees have been fired, stating that whatever conduct they engaged in on tape indicates that at a minimum, they violated our zero tolerance policy. Carnival Cruise Line confirmed to the Post on Wednesday that the two guests aboard the Carnival station reported the assault, which occurred while on an, quote, independent shore excursion. Quote, our onboard care team provided support for two guests as they sailed back to Jacksonville. Dobson and Shears remember being on the beach and almost immediately feeling as if something besides alcohol was in their cocktails. Even their loved ones were concerned after speaking with them on video. They later stated that they said that they didn't believe their allegations were properly handled and cops did not administer a kit test at their request. Back on the cruise ship, the moms received the results of the toxicology test, which showed that they had a plethora of drugs in their system. They also stated that notably they had minimal alcohol in their bodies and bruises on their legs, right? So later on in the article from the New York Post, he also stated that both the mothers, who had never left the country before, state that Carnival should have warned them about the dangers of the Bahamas, right? So then we go directly over to another New York Post because they had two different stories on it. And the one main thing I want to focus on is that they stated before that they had these drinks, but there was pretty much, due to the toxicology report that is directly out there, they stated that pretty much they had zero to no alcohol directly in their blood from what they were able to find. And they stated that now back in Kentucky, the two women have hired a lawyer to get justice and are receiving medical care, including $4,000 in HIV prevention medication. Now, the one reason I want to make sure to point that fact out is this is not the first instance that I've brought you guys a story where women who pretty much look like them decided to go out on an excursion or they wanted to go out on a trip and or a girls trip and they wanted to enjoy the sights. They wanted to enjoy some of the locals directly there. And why this is very important is because both of the women that you are able to see on your screen, both of them are married and they also have kids. So again, some people may say like, well, what's wrong with, two married women going out, by themselves, to take a trip, to decompress, to get away from home, to get away from the kids, just to be able to relax. There's a lot wrong, right? Now, of course, I get what people are saying, that people should have the right to be able to take trips. But at this moment in time, you're married, you have kids, right? You decided that you wanted to be away from the safety of your home and you wanted to go to a whole nother country without the protection of your husband's, right? And again, I want to state that this is a very serious, situation, but questions have to be asked because the resort stated that out of the multitude of cameras that they have, that their stories are not matching up. Other people in the comment section wanted to state, well, if people have consumed, whatever type of drugs might have been in those drinks, then of course their stories aren't going to match up, right? But again, other people have stated some other things. We're going to get to that in a second. So from the Courier Journal, they stated that Dobson husband has stated that his wife and the other mother are childhood friends who both grew up in Danville, Kentucky, right? So these are childhood friends. They know each other for a very long time. So then when you go to another article, right? And that comes from Scallywag. They stated underneath the video, remarked one commenter. They stated that I don't want to be brought into all that drama, but here in Kentucky, they are known as attention seekers. They've done this before about 8 years ago. Also, go look at all of them videos on the other girl's page because they were drunk before when it was supposed to have happened, talking about the incident that they stated on a multitude of news sites that took place, right? Them being assaulted by the workers that were innocents there. Later on in the same article, they said that the Royal Bahama Police Department also issued the following statement contradicting the two Kentucky moms' claims. Quote, emergency medical services offered medical assistance to the victims, which they declined, signed a waiver, and then leaving for their cruise ship in a private vehicle. The statement goes on to say that the officers boarded the cruise ship providing a test kit and hospital to the ship's medical doctor obtained signed statements from the victims, right? And also the mothers have decided to start up a GoFundMe. From the article that I'm looking at right now, they stated that they gained about $350. As of right now, I want to say it's about a little bit over $1,000 that people have donated towards the GoFundMe. And the other most interesting thing about this is the fact that you have multitudes of people that are underneath the story in the comment section. Doesn't matter what site that you go to. Everybody is questioning the women. We're not at a point in time where people are just solely, oh, we're just going to believe women or a woman just because of what she is. Now people are starting to critically think. People want to know more information before they go off the deep end and wanting to specifically support a certain narrative. Because again, now we're talking about Bahamas, right? Primarily the people are highly melanated, black, right? The men involved are more than likely black, right? Bohemian. And you have all of the news sources deciding to run directly with this, wanting to post the story all over the place, right? But yet you have the resort coming out and saying that, hey, we got, a multitude of cameras all around the place. And what they are stating is not matching up, right? Some people have theorized that more than likely the two women who are married, who have kids, right? White picket fence, home, everything. They decided to go on this excursion. And in some of the photos that you happen to see online of the women, you're not seeing people wearing their wedding rings, right? And note, I want to state again, these are women who are married, right? So again, to take a trip, and you know you're married and you're opting not to wear your ring, you have it directly off. It's a little bit confusing, a little bit baffling. But again, maybe I might have, you know, missed a hand, you know, might have looked at the wrong hand. Again, anybody is free to research and go, look up videos directly for themselves or pictures as well. But again, people have theorized that these two married women decided to go on this girls' trip and wanted to have some extra fun. And again, this is not the first time that stories like this have, come up. There was another woman from the United States who decided that she wanted to go to Jamaica and she wanted to have fun. And she came back with something that she could never get rid of. So again, this is why I stated that I wanted to point out the fact that they have to take HIV medication, because this is not the first time that women have gone overseas, in a sense, in order to have some extra, some extra type of fun that they don't want to have specifically in the United States. Because, hey, guess what? If you're in the United States, you decide that you want to be with a multitude of guys, people might find out who you are. If you're a woman and you decide to go overseas or wherever to, have a moment or with several guys, nobody's going to know. Nobody knows your name. You don't know their name, and so on and so on and so on. But the dangerous, fact about that is that you're in a whole nother area. You don't know who that man is. You don't know who he's been with, and you don't know what is going on, with his body. What he may be carrying, what it potentially he can give, specifically to you. Right. So let's just go to a small clip that we have directly from the news.
For two Central Kentucky mothers turned into a nightmare. The women allege they were sexually assaulted at a resort in the Bahamas. They say they were not made aware of a level 2 travel advisory issued for the country because of crime.
Now they say they're sharing their traumatic story to make others aware of the possible dangers when traveling. WKYT's Grayson Passmore has more. We do want to warn you, some of the details of this story may be disturbing to some viewers.
It was like a dream vacation until it wasn't. Then it's like a nightmare we can't wake up from.
Lifelong friends Dongayla Dobson and Amber Shearer booked a Carnival cruise to the Bahamas. They left on Thursday, but it was when they docked in Freeport on Sunday that both women say the trip took a horrific turn.
We were fine up until we weren't.
The friends say they were each offered 2 drinks by staff at a local resort. They say they had their first drink, then a few sips of the second. Then Shearer says she woke with a man on top of her.
I ran, I was screaming for Dongayla, and I seen her stumbling down the beach. And I was like, Dongayla, we've got to go get help.
Both women documented bruising down their lower bodies. They say Bahamian police were called to the scene, but the pair say they couldn't get drug tests, rape kits, or proper medical care until they were back on the Carnival cruise ship.
We were treated as if we were nothing. All they were worried about doing was clearing up their beach.
Shearer and Dobson say their drug tests show positive results for many substances like benzos. They say their rape kits came back positive, and now they're working with American law enforcement and their own legal teams, as they allege 2 men from the resort sexually assaulted them.
We thought we were being safe. We thought we were doing all the right things. We traveled in a pair. We didn't talk to strangers. We didn't take drinks from anyone other than staff.
They're back home and both taking thousands of dollars worth of prescribed medication, including HIV prevention. Now the 2 say they want justice, sharing their traumatic story over and over to try and stop this from happening to anyone else.
These crimes, they don't just affect the women themselves, the women like Dongayla and I that are raped. They affect everybody that loves us, because we can't be loved the same after.
In Garrett County, Grayson Passmore, WKYT.
And Royal Bahamas police shared a release to Facebook on Sunday saying that 2 men were arrested for alleged sexual assault of 2 women earlier that day. They say active police investigations continue.
So we were able to hear that. right? And then at one point you heard the lady in the blue, reading off of something that she wrote down on her phone. During quite a few of the interviews, I've noticed that the lady in the blue is the only one that seems to be trying to grasp onto some type of emotion, some type of cry. And I've never really seen any type of waterworks taking place. And then the other friend that's in the pink, she just seems lost at times. I'm not even sure what's even happening there. Usually when, things are very traumatic and distressing to people, you're going to see it. You're going to be able to feel that directly through the screen. Again, I'm just thinking from a different perspective because far too many times we've had women directly come to the front and decide to lie about specific things that have taken place. And then later on, we find out, oh, this person lied. Why would you lie about something like this? Right. And the main thing that I've tried to tell and explain to women on this platform before is that, yes, things like this do happen, right? You have a lot of women that go through, this type of trauma, these type of attacks that happen. But also within that, you have women that lie about or on this type of trauma in order to get some type of fame, fortune, or celebrity, right? And the main thing that I try to tell a lot of women um, is that things like this will be very detrimental to the actual victims, right? I've covered a multitude of stories before and showcased the videos of women stating one thing and then coming out in court, or the evidence comes out later proving that those women have lied. A multitude of men have been locked up in prison for over 30, 40, 50, whatever years because women have specifically lied and stated that, hey, this guy did this when realistically that guy never did anything to them. Realistically, this could just be a case of two women going out on a trip trying to do something that they weren't supposed to do, and they got caught and they were embarrassed and, potentially might have got something or came down with something. So now they got this plethora of medications that they have in order to take preventative measures and in order not to potentially face a divorce. You end up coming through with a story that is beneficial to you and, is going to put down somebody else just to save, that person's ass. So, like I said, my main thing that I've told people before is that everybody should critically think about a lot of stories and a lot of things that happen that go on, right? And then they want to also state that they need to, they're also trying to quote unquote put blame directly on the cruise ship for not letting them know that, oh, we have a level 2 warning because magically it's unsafe and all of these things. Realistically, if you're going to take a trip, you should already know if the area is safe or if the area is not safe. So again, this is looking very, very interesting. And from something that I was able to see online, it seems that the two guys who were, quote unquote, in police custody, it seems like they were released. So, again, I would like to see how this is going to fully turn around because the GoFundMe is looking not good, at this moment in time. Matter of fact, let me just see if I can go back and get their names very quickly. I can tell you what the GoFundMe actually looks like when it deals with the women here. I gotta scroll down just a little bit. Yeah, so at this moment in time on the GoFundMe, they have about close to $2,000. They said their main goal is about, 10 grand, right? Let me see. When did they start this? This GoFundMe was started. They don't have dates for this up here. It's a little bit odd. Can't even specifically tell you when they created this GoFundMe February 7th, and we are now looking at the 20th, right? So that's a lot of days that have passed by, and for this to have not magically skyrocketed in the amount of support, that lets you know something. Because normally anytime that we would see a GoFundMe and it's for somebody that, quote unquote needs, help, they need some type of support, something tragic or whatnot have, taken place. Normally we would see a whole host of people within a matter of 24, 48, 72 hours that would come up and show support, right? If this was any other timeline, these women would have more than likely had about 50 plus K sitting up there. But due to the events that have been happening throughout the years, where women have been lying consistently about things happening to them, this is why people aren't in a rush to automatically believe what it is that took place here. And that's one of the things that I tried to tell people before. It's going to get to the point where you'll have enough people trying to fabricate stories that the moment in time that an actual story takes place, everybody's not going to be on that person's side. People are not going to, pull up in droves in order to support and donate money and trying to use a platform to speak out, because too many people have been burnt on a lot of these things. And not only does it hurt that person, but it also hurts those people's credibility, because they decided in goodwill to full-fledged believe what it is that this person stated, all to find out that it's not true. So again, when you even look on TikTok, this is why you don't have a lot of hugely popular TikTokers or whatnot deciding to cover this story, because people are a little bit wary, because they did it one too many times and it did not pan out the way that they felt or thought that it was going to pan out. And yeah. But anyways, let me know what you guys think about everything that was listed and stated in the live stream, in the comment section. This is just something that I wanted to go over and, put that information directly out there for people to, do their own research, their own critical thinking to figure out, what the truth actually is, or what their opinion is of all of the stories and evidence that, has been placed directly online. But, shout out to, anybody that was here to listen and, hear the stories. And I will see you guys on the next live stream.